Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown,
the unofficial sumo podcast
for official sumo fans.
Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. This is Ryan.
This is Jake.
This is Mac.
This is Fleric.
And we're going to get the most important thing out of the way first. We put out a Twitter poll for what was better, strawberry jelly or grape jelly. And unfortunately, strawberry jelly won with 58%.
Unfortunately.
I was about to say, that sounds like a good
the
deal
people
to
have
me.
spoken.
And the people were incorrect.
Yes.
All right.
As some of you may notice,
What was it? Jake and Ryan, people, they hate the people. I just want that to be known.
no,
Well, when the people picked the wrong jelly, maybe we do.
I think we've spent enough of our sumo podcast time on jelly arguments. But as people may notice throughout this episode, and this is going to be very hard for me to say, but Yokozuna Jake is sick.
It makes it all worth it if Ryan has to call me Yokozuna the whole time.
I'm going to say your name as few times as possible.
Whose name?
Yokozuna Jakes.
Yeah.
How does
All
it
right.
feel, Ryan? How does it feel?
Let's move from a wannabe Yokozuna to a real Yokozuna and our winner Kakuryu of the Haru Basho.
There you go. Second try.
Yeah. He was 13-2. This is his fourth Yusho win, first since 2016 in Kyushu. Jun Yusho winners, we had two, Takayasu and Kaisei, both at 12-3. This is Takayasu's third Jun Yusho, his second in a row, and Kaisei's second, his first since 2013.
That's quite a dry spell.
Yeah, I mean, we know recently he's been fighting injuries and has come back pretty strong from those. I think this is fourth straight Kachikoshi, but definitely by far his best record so far. Since his return from injury.
What was his rank, previous rank on his other Junior Show performance?
I believe it was Maegashira 11, around in that range.
Okay.
It was 12 in July of 2013. He went 11-4 for a second place.
And something I found interesting, he didn't get a special prize. I think every Basho we've seen, if the Jun Yusho winner isn't like an Ozeki, they get a special prize.
I wonder how many people shared it, that Basho. The
Oh,
Junior Show.
That's a good call. We can,
Especially 11-4.
Jake can look that up.
Let's go find out so
Yeah.
that I don't have to talk as much. I can just do
All right.
computer
Well, that
things.
takes like an age and a half.
Yeah. we will go on to the special prizes awarded this Basho. Endo picks up his second Gino show, the technique special prize. Tochinoshin picked up the Shukun show, the outstanding performance, his second overall and his second in a row. And then Kaisei, the Jun Yusho winner, picked up the Kanto show, the fighting spirit prize.
Just so that we can all move on with our lives here, Kaisei shared the Junior Show with Kisano Sato back in 2013.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that that's cleared up.
Now that that's cleared up, we can move on. Anybody have any major feelings about the special prizes? Anybody gypped, or everybody all the prizes go to the right people on this one?
I think the prizes went to the right people. It's good to see Tochinoshin get another one. He didn't get the Yusho, obviously, this time, but he's still on quite the strong run. Hopefully a Nozeki one.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, he was involved with like a handful of the best matches of the Basho, I would say.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I would say my best performers of this Basho, as far as like entertaining wise, were Tochinoshin and Mitakeyumi. Especially at the end, Mitakeyumi had a string of a lot of very entertaining matches at the end.
I would squeeze in Takara Fuji in there because I've liked some of his matches he put up. He lost every single one.
He did put in
But-
a lot, but he put in a lot of effort for each match that he played in.
They were hard wins for the people he went up against. In that
Exactly,
first
yeah.
week. But we're going to kind of go into what was one of the biggest storylines for this Basho, is kind of the judging by, in part, the Gyoji and what are the people around the ring that call the moto?
Shimpan.
The Shinpan. Is it Shipan or Shinpan?
Shim with an M.
Okay. With an M?
M. Shimpan.
M as in Mancy.
All right, whatever. Semantics aside, we had a few different things. We kind of touched on it in our midway episode. Aoyama just straight up robbed on day 5.
That was bad.
Yeah, and I mean that almost ended up biting him in the butt, as he only ended up with an 8-7 record. So it could have, if he had lost one more and that had cost him, that would have made a lot of people very angry, as he would have dropped down to Juryo.
Are you saying that you're an Oyama fan now?
I'm not saying I'm an Aoyama fan.
You think he might be a Yokozuna someday, Ryan?
an 8-7 at Maegashira 17?
They got to start somewhere.
Hey,
Yeah,
he was
he's on his
robbed.
way up.
That is 9.
He was robbed as well.
It's really a 9-6. That's a good point. He's well on his way.
Indeed.
Nobody will remember past this podcast that he was robbed, and it will forever live as 8-7.
Gentlemen, we have a new mission.
Yep. We're going to bring this
We
up
will remind everyone of this every time that Aoyama is mentioned.
just like this joke.
Yeah. Moving on to some other controversial decisions. Was Kakuryu's toe down? Was Tochinoshin's heel down? I think yes or no and yes. But
Okay. I was going to say, I feel pretty passionate about the Kakuryu toe down one. That was definitely not down. Like what I can gather of what happened was that his foot hit the Tawara, I believe.
Yes.
The straw bale
Yep, the
along
straw
the
bale,
edge.
yeah.
The straw bale along the edge, and that kind of caused like a puff of dirt to kind of pop up, and then his toe got really, really close, but never actually touched.
So then where did the dirt come from, though? Was it
his
under
heel
his toes?
kicked it up from inside of the ring, and it just happened to land at the same time his toe almost touched
So
out.
we're talking an extreme coincidence here.
Yes.
Yeah, extreme. Just to clarify so people can follow along, this is on day 7, Kakuryu versus Takakeisho is the one that we are talking about. And yeah, I believe there's a little bit of dirt that kind of falls off after he raises his toe, but the best I can gather that was actually trapped underneath his foot. So when he raised his foot, that's when it fell down.
Yeah, I didn't go into the CSI levels of photo enhancement that Flarek did, digging into some of these things. But based on the replays that I saw, it looked like his toe did not touch down on that. Unfortunately, Tochinoshin's heel in his match against Takayasu does look like it was ever so slightly down.
Barely.
As
Barely.
disappointing as that is for all of us Tochinoshin fans out there. Another one was the last day, Takayasu versus Kakuryu. So at first, I believe it was the Kyoji pointed in the direction of Kakuryu as the winner, and then they deemed that Tochinoshin...
It was a late mono-e.
Yeah, a late mono-e, which happened a couple of times.
Yes.
Late mono-e. I don't remember exactly which one, but the Kyoji was saying the name, presenting the money to a winner of the match, and then the Shimpan called for a mono-e.
Raised their hands and said, okay, mono-e.
But this one, Takayasu's for Kakuryu, they determined that it was too close to call, so they had a Tori Naoshi rematch. And then Takayasu dominated Kakuryu. But Flarek thinks that there never should have been a Tori Naoshi.
Whenever there's a Kakuryu match, I have a strong opinion about it.
It's the hype train, right?
Yeah. Just watching that match is you kind of watch. I do think Kakuryu's heel did go out on the side, but kind of watching Takayasu's left foot, you can see that actually turns over and the top of his foot is actually touching the ground inside the ring. And the technical definition of sumo is anything besides the sole of your feet is down, and so the top of your foot is actually down. You can kind of see him drag it for well before his heel goes out. So I think that's clearly it was a Kakuryu victory there.
Yeah. And I think probably what happened there is either they were too caught up in looking at who was down first. They didn't look to see if the foot was down, or maybe they determined Kakuryu was falling out, so the top of the foot touching was irrelevant.
Right. Deemed him in an irrecoverable position, so they just kind of went with it.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I will say I'm okay with a rematch in that kind of scenario because it definitely wasn't a definitive victory or win on either side.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with a rematch, and Takayasu definitely won that second match.
Yeah.
We had quite a few redos this past Basho. There were at least 3 that I counted.
Yeah, I think there were maybe more. No, 3 redos. Yeah, but definitely quite a few mono-es.
Oh yeah, no,
called.
a lot of mono-es.
I think usually the Gyoji was right that I noticed. I don't think they reversed too many decisions.
Maybe a couple.
One that should have been reversed, I believe, was Ichinojo versus Shodai on day 14. Ichinojo pulled out a slick-looking Uwatanage, but upon replay, looked very much like he was pulling Shodai's hair. I don't know if you guys caught that too much, but it looked very similar to the Ikioi match where he was called for the hair pull.
Yeah, I definitely disagreed with the Ikioi one. It looked like he got his fingers in there, but didn't really do anything with it. The Ichinojo versus Shodai, I did not see a whole lot on the replay there.
I would go in reverse for that. Actually, the Ikioi, I thought he actually did. He had a good grab, and he was throwing down in that motion. So I do think I think it was accidental getting his fingers caught in there, but I think that definitely helped him win the match.
Do you think it helped him more than if his hand was in the same place without hair between the fingers? Because I think he was pushing down, and the grab, even if it happened, wasn't like it wasn't match changing. I don't know. That was my opinion watching it live.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying. I think the throw kind of lasted for a couple seconds, which kind of makes me go onto the side that it did affect the match. But it was definitely close.
There's also the fact that I like Ikioi, so of course he got screwed every time that he lost.
That's fine. Just like Kakaryu
He had a great
can never
run
do
this
wrong.
Basho.
Yeah, he definitely did.
He did. He almost got the Fighting Spirit prize. He lost to Kaisei on the last day, and if he had won that match, he also would have gotten a Fighting Spirit prize.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, he almost got the prize, so it's kind of very sad.
That's part of why I'm a little bit bitter about it.
Yeah, and we don't fully understand how the rules work. I mean, he definitely pulled the hair, incidental, unintentional or not. He definitely did it. So I don't know if they deem it incidental, does that mean it's a rematch, or is that just automatic? Well, I don't care if you didn't mean to do it. You still did it. You got to pay the punishment.
Right.
Yeah, it seems like one of the things you have to have a hard line on, because
Yeah.
if it's just a rematch, like, going down, just start pulling hair. So I'm kind of okay with it being a clear-cut loss on that.
Yeah, but I think if Ikioi's was deemed a hair pull and a loss, I think Ichinojo should have been deemed the same way. But once again, another just questionable decision, which I think led to... This was probably one of my favorite Bashos to watch, just because there was so much drama on so many different days. Especially Tochinoshin and Kakaryu were their toe or heel down, respectively.
Yeah. So we had a lot of close judging instances. Do you feel like, other than the Aoyama, that they actually went the wrong way, or did they kind of choose the right decision?
I think the Ichinojo one, there should have been a review, and that it went the wrong way, but that one's a little more closer because that's a hair pull.
Yeah, everybody's going to be watching the feet normally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fair, yeah.
And I think you're firmly in the camp of Takayasu lost.
Well, I'm actually... I think he definitely did lose, but
Or you
I'm
just
okay.
stirring crap up to stir crap up.
No. In the technicality of things, I think Takayasu lost versus Kakaryu.
Okay.
So, but I will say I'm okay with a rematch.
No,
I have no problem with the reffing in that situation.
I think the only blatant one was Aoyama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, it was one of those times where, yeah, there was some questionable officiating, but there were a ton of times where the officiating was put in the forefront because of these close situations like this.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the bigger part of the outlier here. There were so many more situations for judging to go poorly that inevitably a couple of them went the opposite way than most of us would think they would go or something.
Yeah. And another kind of theme throughout this Basho that got really thrown into the forefront during another Tochinoshin match, but Henkas. And the granddaddy of them all, what Goeido lacked in volume, he made up with in impact.
Shameful.
Yeah, his just blatant Henka versus Tochinoshin on day 10. I know a lot of people weren't happy about it. There's some other people who's like, well, that's the name of the game. What are your guys' opinion on that Henka at that level, at the Yozeki Sekewake level of sumo?
For me, I was actually on vacation. I was traveling. I was in a time zone that was a little bit more forgiving, so I stayed up super late on day 10 here, and I was showing my brother sumo for the first time. He'd never seen it. I'm like, you got to check this out. We're going to stay up super late. We're going to watch this crazy sport. It'd be a great time. Oh, okay, it's Tochinoshin. This guy won the last tournament. He's one of my favorites. Check out this match. And it's over.
And it's done.
So it's insulting to me on a personal level as well as disappointing on a sport level. But yeah, that you should. It's an Ozeki. I mean, Goeido should not be doing that kind of thing, especially in what, I don't know. Again, personally, in what would have been an awesome match.
Yeah.
I think Tochinoshin would have been the favorite if there was no Henkas there.
Absolutely.
I think you entirely said right there. Tochinoshin would have been the favorite if there's no Henkas. I think it was Goeido kind of respecting Tochinoshin, saying like, this, with your size and your grip, you are just a really, really strong of an opponent. I'm going to go ahead and just Henka you, and I get that win.
So you're saying he respected his talent, so he had to disrespect him.
Yes.
Explain that one to me a little bit more, Flerick.
Well, it's
That sounds more like fear to me then.
Indeed.
I will say it's a confession of inferiority. Like he said, like, I am not the better person in this match, and he did what he needed to win.
Well, might not be like, oh, Tochinoshin is so much better than me. I have no ability to take him head on and win this match. I don't think Goeido's thinking like that. It could just be, hey, Tochinoshin usually runs really fast at people. I'm going to get a quick win.
It could be that too. Like I definitely don't know the subtleties of Itachi to know like to pretty much kind of like to be putting yourself very vulnerable to a Henka. Mm-hmm. But he definitely was kind of on the off foot because of that. So it could definitely be like a thing. Just Tochinoshin was just not respecting a Henka as possible, and he was just kind of blinding, just charging forward. And that's something that's the reason I personally kind of like the Henka exists, because if you don't have that, you're just going to get people just kind of ramming at each other as fast as possible. And I think it's kind of a check in place. So like sometimes people, they don't just try to do essentially like bowls and hit each other as hard as possible, but there's actually some skill. You have to watch your opponent and see what they're going to do.
Point against that, the Chiyomaru Takayasu match. Both of them barreled into each other like crazy, and Takayasu bounced off of Chiyomaru.
And somehow Chiyomaru had a deciding factor in who won this tournament. Because Chiyomaru went on to win that match, and Takayasu was one back from Kakuryu and could have forced a playoff. That's just unbelievable.
He did also beat Goeido as well. So Chiyomaru beat both Ozeki.
He had an impressive basho against some of the guys in Sanyaku ranks. He ended up with a Make Koshi, but he did pretty well for himself.
Yeah, I bet you're pretty happy about this, Mac. You're kind of a Chiyomaru fan, aren't you?
I am a Chiyomaru fan.
Yeah.
So it was great to see. I wish he could have gotten the Kachikoshi, but you know what? That's all right. He beat the Ozeki.
He did have one of the more impressive 6-9 records that I've ever seen.
Wasn't it, though?
Yeah, I did enjoy his match versus Kaisei as well. I think that was a pretty fun time.
Yeah, but just like Goeido's blatant Henka bringing up discussions of game theory here, what happens when you're so small that you feel like you need to Henka all the time?
Are you referring
then
to
you
Ishiura?
Henka all the time.
Then you Henka all the time, and we actually talked about this in our midway. We wanted to see who would guess how many Henkas Ishiura would do, and it looks like me and Fleric, we both nailed it. He ended up with a total of 6 Henkas, so like a better than 35% rate.
40% Henka rate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. But I mean, when you're so small, you can't necessarily beat guys 200 pounds heavier than you by hitting them head on. Yeah. So there's got to be at least one thing you can do, and he found one.
And he ended up with a 7-8 record, and I imagine he won most, if not all, of the matches that he had a Henka in. So let's assume he won all of his matches. I don't remember offhand, but that means he only got one win when he didn't Henka.
Yeah, I mean, he's against guys that are absolutely enormous, way stronger than him, and there's really nothing he can ever do to close that size and strength gap. I'm not arguing that that it's right for him to do it this way, but it certainly is more respectable coming from a guy who's like 5'7" than from an Ozeki like Goeido.
Yes,
he lost on day 4 with a Henka.
Okay, but so 2 non-Henka wins. That's still not very good. But I mean, 7-8, he'll stick around. Makuuchi for the next Basho. We also had up-and-comer that kind of started utilizing the Henka to throw people off of his game. That was Abi. Came in, did a little bit better than I think most of us were predicting, but he, according to Max Count, looks like had 4 Henkas.
At least from what I noticed, there were 4. The worst of which probably was against Koto Shogiku.
Yeah.
That one, Koto Shogiku, was just livid.
Was that the one where he pushed him right back?
That was the shove.
Yeah. A rare moment of seeing emotion from a Rikishi.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Koto Shogiku, which seems like an old cheerful grandpa.
Do you remember the last time he showed his frustration on the dojo?
He didn't bow to Terano Fuji.
Yep. When he got when Terano Fuji Henked against him, which stopped Koto Shogiku from earning his Ozeki rank back.
Yeah, I think Koto Shogiku was just having flashbacks to that moment, and that's why he pushed Abi back like that.
But it's a little disappointing. I mean, I know that he's still an up-and-comer, he's still learning, but he's got the natural talent. He's got the tech. He just needs to keep working on his technique. He's got the size. He's got the reach. He shouldn't need to be doing these Henkas.
When I first saw he do his first one, I was really happy because I feel like his sumos are really one-dimensional. It's pretty much just kind of just be pushing, like use your long arms, limbs, and kind of push your person out.
It's worked for Aoyama.
Yes, but he's also he's much bigger. much bigger than Abi is at this point.
And Aoyama ended up with a worse record than Abi did at a much lower rank.
Details.
So I was okay with seeing it because I see it as, he's kind of mixing up his style. He's trying something more. At 4, I think that's kind of a little bit much, but it's I'm glad because it's kind of seeing his style evolving a little bit.
He is one of those guys with a lot more natural quickness. So I mean, it's definitely a strategy that he can get some mileage out of.
Yeah, there was like one, I think he was getting pushed out, but he like athletically just like danced around the edge. And
Yeah,
I think he just got out of the way.
I have written in my notes for day 15, Abi ballet miracle. So yeah, that's probably the one you're thinking of too.
Mm-hmm. I have a note for that one as well.
Yeah. And there was one more Henka of note, Nega Arawashi Chiyoshoma. He had a very interesting Henka/throw in his last match of the day. You want to go into a little bit more detail about that, Flarek?
I'll just say it was beautiful. Like
It was. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he jumped. He had great timing. He jumped out of the way and he got like hold on the belt and went right into a Watanabe throw, and it was just beautiful.
It wasn't just a straight, matador jump to the side, let him go past. It was he like jumped over and around to get the hold on the belt, and then immediately used that hold to do a throw.
But this is not the first time he's done that. We have seen him doing this more and more, where he just gets airborne, jumps to the side, and then attacks the opponent.
Yeah, I think he failed one like a couple days before, didn't he?
There was a jumping fail.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tried it a couple times. I have written down. We saw it in the commentary. The word for that is hasotobi. That's the word for the jump as opposed to just the sidestep.
Okay. And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but Tochinoshin is on a very possible Ozeki run. Right now, typically an Ozeki run, people figure 33 wins over 3 Basho, and typically you want to be in the Sanyaku ranks to begin that. We're kind of just guessing that with a 14-1 record in a Yusho back in January at Maegashira 3, that's going to be a good enough starting point for Tochinoshin. And following up with 10 wins at Sekiwake gives him 24, which would mean he'd only need 9. And maybe 9, they might not.
So, I did some digging into Ozekis of the past and kind of what records they need to actually get promotion. So, what they're kind of looking for with Ozeki promotion is like 11-4, like 3 Bashas in a row. They're a little flexible with like 12-1, 10 the other, but that's kind of the target they're looking for. There was a Ozeki called Baruto. I think he is a Westerner rikishi from
Estonia.
And he came in, he was actually very successful, and he got to the Ozeki rank, I think maybe a Yusho as well.
Yes, he won 1 Yusho, and this is a guy in the early, mid-2000s.
Yeah. So on his climb up, he started off in Komusubi, and he got a 12-3 in the Fighting Spirit Prize, and that kind of kicked off his Ozeki run, and he got promoted up to the Sekiwake rank. Right after that, he actually ended up with a 9-6, and then for that record, with no fighting prizes or anything like that. And then the one right after that, he got a 12-3. So if you add all those up, it actually is 33 wins over 3 Bashos. But they decided that the 9-6 right in the middle was too unsightly for an Ozeki promotion, and they denied him again. He kept him at Sekiwake for another Basho.
I like that choice of wording there, unsightly.
Ugh, so ugly.
It's just a disgusting number. How dare you go and get 9?
Didn't Goedo have a 9-6 record at Ozeki this past Basho?
He's already in Ozeki.
I know, I'm just saying, just continuing our theme of ragging on Goedo for not being...
We haven't done enough of that this episode
Yeah.
yet.
So we can say that 10 is kind of that dividing line. Anything less than 10, undesirable, but anything more...
But you
and
definitely
have
have to eclipse
consideration.
it a little bit, because they said it at 33.
Exactly, yeah. I think technically the target they're looking for is 11, but I think the thing to take away from this, it's very subjective.
Okay.
They kind of give the guideline of 33 in like 3 Bashos. People have been promoted for 32. Kiseno Sato is actually one of those people. Like when he got his Ozeki promotion, he actually had 32 wins over 3 Bashos.
Okay.
But he did have a little bit of prize money with that, though.
He had a Jun Yusho and a technique prize during that stretch. He also beat Hakuho in his Jun Yusho run.
Which is possibly what set him over the edge, where it's like, yeah, you may not have hit the 33, but subjectively you did enough other good stuff that this is good enough to be an Ozeki.
Exactly. I think quality of sumo definitely comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tochinoshin, he beat Kakuryu this Basho. He beat Takayasu and Goedo in the last basho. So he's beating the guys above him. I think he definitely has the wins. So even if he only gets maybe 10 next time, I think that should be enough, but honestly, we don't know.
Yeah. We do have an update from Hakaku, who is, I think, the chairman of the Sumo Association. He, first of all, is quoted saying, like, Tochinoshin's Yotsumo, which I think is pushing... No, is that belt sumo?
What was the word again?
I don't know.
Yotsumo.
Yatsu Sumo, or Yotsu Sumo. I'm not
Yotsu.
Exactly sure how it's pronounced, but yes, that is belt grabbing, grappling sumo.
So what he says is Tochinoshin's Yotsu Sumo is great. That's the sumo I long for. So he is a huge fan of his sumo.
Did his cheeks blush when he said that?
I believe so.
Oh my!
It is being reported that yes, his cheeks blushed.
Indeed.
Grand Sumo Breakdown exclusive.
You heard it here, folks.
Yeah. But he did go on to say, I think quoted later, like naturally this that Tochinoshin will be on the Ozeki run next basho.
Okay, so they're saying that his Ozeki promotion's on the line.
Yeah, essentially, I think they said his 10 and 5 wasn't unsightly enough to say no.
Yeah, I think part of it it's sometimes mentioned that you want to be in the Sanyaku ranks for those 3 basho, but he was at M3 for his previous one, so he faced all the same guys that he would have if he was any higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being in the Joy, you face all the other guys in the Joy anyways. That's the top ranking Megashira who face the Yokozuna
The
and
top
Ozeki.
16.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. It could be said like for if you're a Sanyaku, you face all the higher people later in the basho, so you don't exactly have the same pressure. Like he beat all of his toughest guys early on, and he also didn't face a couple of like the Megashira 1 or some other ranks and had some lower ones. But mostly because they were having a terrible basho.
Yeah, that's true too.
He had to face better people. But yeah.
Well, that's good to hear that he is at least officially on the run.
And then what about Takayasu? He's put together a couple of impressive bashos in a row. He's 12-3 the past 2 bashos at Ozeki, gotten a Jun Yusho in both of those. If he finally wins a Yusho this year, sometime soon, continue this run, do you think he sees a Yokozuna promotion in the future?
That's a good question. So kind of historically since the 90s, like the thing that kind of says like you can get promoted to Yokozuna is to be an Ozeki and get 2 Yushos in a row. And so, but the last couple of Yokozuna, that actually hasn't been the case. Kakuryu, he ended up with Jun Yusho. He had 14-1. Of where he once again beat Hakuho once, but then lost to him in the playoff. But then the one right after that, he ended up getting a Yusho, and that's the run that actually cemented him a Yokozuna promotion right there. And Kiseno Sato, as we can remember, he had like 5 bashos of where he got 4 Jun Yushos, and then he got the Yusho in Hatsu in January with a 14-1. So going off of that, Takayasu is coming off of 2 Jun Yushos, where he beat Kakuryu, the Yokozuna who entered both times. So it kind of seems like if he gets like a convincing Yusho, like he could get the promotion.
Yeah, I bet if he won it with a 13, 14, or even a 15, that would definitely be it would definitely be a deliberation. There would definitely be talk of it, I would imagine.
I know, or I believe I know, that they want like a full year of continuous excellent performance for a Yokozuna promotion, and he was Kadoban, albeit due to injury, but he was Kadoban just a couple of bashos ago, so I don't know if that might play into effect where if he gets a convincing Yusho win, maybe they hold off on that Yokozuna promotion.
Yeah, I know that was the case for Kiseno Sato, but looking at Kakuryu, I think he came off that year with like 8-7, 8-7, 10-5, 10-5, 9-6, 9-6. And then he had Jun Yusho.
Okay. So not out of the question. But they were 2 14-win performances. These are only 12-win performances right now. And
Exactly.
he lost to Chiyomaru.
That's very true.
You can't be giving away those Kinboshi.
Hey.
There you go.
Yeah, they definitely they got to think with their wallets at least a little bit. They can't promote a guy to Yokozuna if they're expecting him to give away Kinboshi like crazy.
Yeah. And then a couple of points that we hit on in our preview episode, just kind of want to double back and touch on those again. We had 3 guys that we were kind of thinking possibly over-promoted. Turns out they really weren't. We had Abi, Daisho, and Ryuden. Each one of those had impressive records in the Hatsu Basho and backed it up with decent records at their higher ranks this time. Abi most so with a 10-5 record. I know me and I believe Mac thought this was going to be a letdown performance for Abi this
Definitely.
time. He definitely followed it up with a very impressive performance. He's on the Onosho run, I like to call it.
The 10-5s?
The 10-5s.
Yeah, so let's see if he can follow up in Onosho's footsteps and get a third 10-5 in a row. Now, I'm definitely surprised pleasantly because I think he's an exciting, fun guy to watch. But
Oh, yeah.
it seems like he's doing really well, but at least a couple of those wins were Henka's.
Crafty wins.
A couple of those losses, he had the guys right at the edge of the straw bales, though, and he just couldn't push them over, so maybe work on his technique. He could turn those into wins.
He's getting there.
He certainly got the promise. My thing that I've noticed over and over again with him is that his losses, he gets guys pushed just to the edge, but then they sidestep him, and he's overcommitted, and he falls straight forward.
That definitely happened a lot this Basho before he started the string of Henkas. And then we had Daisho with a very workmanlike 9-6 record. I don't think anything really too of note there, but
I would say I was really impressed. Like, he kind of came under the radar. Like, I didn't expect too much of him, but with like a 9-6 and like some quality wins, I
He's
was impressed.
consistently a pretty good Rikishi. He's just not. He doesn't do a whole lot that's memorable to me, at least.
That's the point.
and with Mac behind him in his cheering section, Ryuden pulled off a very impressive 8-7 after starting, I believe, 3-7.
Yep, he was 3-7 going in and performed very admirably and went on a 5-win win streak, and I was very pleased. Now, one of those was a Fusen victory with
Yes.
Sokokurai. However, the other matches that he did were not guaranteed wins, except for maybe Hidenomi, but they were good matches regardless.
Yeah, very impressed that he was able to pull off the Kachikoshi there. It looked like at the beginning of the Basho he was going to be dropping in the ranks, but that will not be the case.
I'm still salty about Hide no Umi.
Yeah.
You picked him for fantasy, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
he just earned an enemy for life.
Well, let's not talk about fantasy. I've got a lot of enemies from this Basho. We'll get to that later. We also had Endo at Megashira 1. He's been up here many times before, never got a Kachikoshi. This time he put together a very impressive performance, got his 9-6 record, was able to knock off Takayasu, I believe, in day 1 or day 2, and should be getting promoted to Komosubi for the first time in his career.
Yeah, there's a slot opening up there for sure with Chiyotairyu coming out of Sanyaku, Mitakayumi dropping down at least a half a rank, maybe all the way to Komosubi.
We'll get there.
We'll get there, but there is one slot open, and Endo, it looks like he's the most likely to inherit it.
Were any of us surprised that Chiyotairyu was going to fall, though?
No, absolutely not.
A handful of us predicted it,
Yeah.
but it turned out to be a little bit
was
more brutal
No
than we
offense
thought.
to Chiyotairyu, but
Only 3 or 4 wins at the Komosubi spot. Yeah.
It's because of the sideburns. He had to kind of trim those off.
That's right. He got rid of those. He got
Lost
rid of
the
his
power.
power.
no.
But what do people think of Endo Sumo? Like,
I was impressed.
That was the surprise for me of this Basho.
He was scrappy, I would say. I feel like not everything was necessarily like exactly how you would design to win a match, but he got in some like bad situations, was able to work out of it and muster a win out of those situations. I really liked his sumo, except for the last day. It seems like he gave up. He's like,
The
hey,
last day was
I'm going to
very-
be promoted. Old Endo, I give up.
Very low effort, that day 15 match.
yeah. I the big thing that stuck out for me was his balance. Like, he has
Yes.
a really, really good balance.
That was very impressive.
That match against Tochinoshin where Tochinoshin ended up throwing him. It took a whole lot, and Tochinoshin's a very accomplished judo practitioner, and he had to flip. He flipped himself too, but just barely flipped Endo a little bit more.
Yeah. And we got Mitakayumi getting his first Makekoshi since November of 2016 at Sekewake with a 7-8 record. He could be facing demotion for the first time in about a year.
I'm super sad about this.
Me too. I mean, he's always been like 9-6, 8-7, but I like Mitakayumi. I like seeing him up there. We've been predicting big things out of him for the past few Bashos. It's never really happened, but
Yeah, he seems like a great guy too. Like I said, I think he's like in the same Ichiman as Tochinoshin, and I know like he said that he was going into his match against Kakuryu to say, I'm going to beat this guy to put you back into the Yusho race, and like
This was in January.
Yeah, this January. Thank you. And so that's the match he won. So like, and he said like I did this for you and stuff like that. So
A good deal to help out your buddy there.
Indeed.
exactly.
Something else we noticed, Ichinojo turned into the old Ichinojo, Mac, after securing his Kachikoshi. What did you think about that?
I was happy with the Kachikoshi and then disappointed with the rest. I'm like, come on, we've seen him perform at a much higher caliber than this. The power of the lean is absolute, but it just wasn't working.
Yeah, he had some respectable and understandable losses early in the tournament to Mitakayumi and Tamawashi, both high-level competitors, of course. But then he lost for the last 5 days. Granted, there was a Kakuryu loss in there, but Shohozan, Tochinoshin, those are guys that he was expected to be at least competitive with. And
That Tochinoshin one, I was pretty impressed because
He did pick him up.
Ichinojo returned the favor and lifted Tochinoshin up off the dohyo, but Tochinoshin was able to turn him around and take him out.
That was just as good as last Basho when they were trying to lift each other, and Tochinoshin came out on top in that one, too.
Yeah. So at least it was exciting. At least
Yes.
the past 2 Bashos have always been exciting when these 2 guys are going head-to-head.
For sure, but I think the problem was we noticed not just his record falling off, but also his effort.
He was
his
being
energy.
pushed
Yeah,
out
it
way
was
too easily.
Like he just kept giving up.
Yeah, some of the quality of his matches were just not that great.
Yeah. And I will kick it over to Yokozuna Jake.
That's right.
Ikioi had a very impressive bounce-back performance.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy that he's been around for a little while. He's fallen apart physically here and there. And at the beginning of this Basho, like I think it was the very first day, it looked like he injured his foot pretty bad.
I thought he was going to be pulling out of the Basho after that.
I think he's come off like a big injury too, like in the previous Bashos and
Yeah,
such.
he hasn't been healthy in a while. I mean, it dropped him all the way. He was at Megashira 14, and he's been all the way up to Sekiwake before. He's definitely a talented guy, but yeah, he's fallen off the last couple Basho. In January, he went 4-11 from Megashira 6. So yeah, there's got to be some health related stuff there. But an 11-4 from Megashira 14, that's good enough to get him back up to where his talent means that he should be. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, he'll be earning some fatter stacks up at his higher rank that he gets this next Basho.
And then, Fleric, I believe you had a lot to talk about Dayamami and Yutakayama. Both a couple of guys that have been bouncing back and forth between Makuuchi and Juryo.
Yeah, I have a lot to say, which is mostly like they both got 10-5. I thought that was pretty impressive. I'm glad you mentioned that they've been bouncing back and forth between Juryo and Makuuchi, especially Yutakayama. I think he's like 3 or 4 or so in the last couple of Bashos.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of glad they both. Like I've been kind of watching Dayamami for a while, wanting him to do well, and so I'm just kind of really happy he kind of had a breakout Basho to get from the just bottom of the bonds came Makuuchi to somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
If I recall, you like him because his name is kind of silly, and that's what first caught your attention?
Exactly. It's really easy. Like the mommy is really easy to make funny names, like for essentially fantasy. So check out the fantasy blog if you want to check some of my old ones. My first one's Harshi Oyamado, which whatever.
Yeah, Fleric likes to make his
let's,
fantasy name. He likes to make his fantasy team name by combining all of the Shikona, the ring names of all the wrestlers on his team.
Oh, and I do think we mentioned it, but Endo had previously stated a long time ago, once he got up to the Sanyaku ranks, he was going to change his Shikona. I believe I heard somewhere that he is deciding he's going to stick with Endo and not change his Shikona.
Yeah, so when Endo first kind of was rising through Makuuchi a couple years ago, like he was kind of rising fast. Mm-hmm. Like he was kind of, this is going to be the next big thing. And apparently at one point in time he said, like, once I get up to the Sanyaku, I'm going to change my name because who likes the name Endo? Endo's awful. He didn't actually say that.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool too. He didn't actually say that, but he did say he was intending to change his name. But after he shortly thereafter kind of got injured, and then he just kind of slumping for a while and just kind of sticking around in the middle. But so after a couple years, he seems to actually finally be healthy, and it sounds like he's finally get that Sanyaku promotion that he was hoping for a couple years ago. But it seems like since then, everyone kind of knows him as Endo, so he actually said he's not going to change his name.
Yeah, it would be weird to have somebody that's had such... Because he's very popular over in Japan. Somebody that has that notoriety and popularity to suddenly change their name. I mean, Haru Mafuji did it.
Yeah, he was Ama for a long, long time.
Yeah. Up until Ozeki or Yokozuna is when he finally changed it. But moving on, we did have a couple of injuries in this Basho. We had Sokokurai. Apparently, it looks like he has some broken bones in his foot or a foot sprain that'll keep him out of action for 2 months. So that could put him in danger of the Natsu Basho of not showing up there.
I believe so. Watching that match was so painful.
Yeah, he was limping real bad to get out of there.
He could hardly get up into the ring.
Yep. And then another one of our tadpoles, Taka Keisho, disappointing Basho at Maegashira 3. He had a foot injury. Looks like he's going to need to be out for about 6 weeks, but should be in the time frame to come back for the Natsu Basho. Some recovery news. I just saw this on Kitamayama video, so I believe it to be true, but I believe his Oyakata said Onosho will be back for Natsu.
Oh, awesome.
That'll be good to see, because if he was injured, if he stayed out any longer, he would probably drop down to the lower division. But
he should make it into the teens this time.
Yeah, he was at Megashira 5 with no wins, no losses, 15 absences. So hopefully that means that he'll at least stick around in Makuuchi for a try if he's healthy in May.
And then we apparently do have word on a Haramafuji retirement ceremony. Looks like that'll be taking place this year after the Akiba show at the Ryogoku Kokugikan.
That was a pretty good try.
Yeah, not bad.
It wasn't perfect, but I'll take it. And then let's just cover Juryo real quick. We had Sada no Umi win with an 11-4 record. He won a playoff over Aki Seiyama. Tera no Fuji, the former Sekewake and Ozeki, he made his drop down to Juryo, and he was 6-9. So obviously, still not fully back to where he was.
He's winning some matches, though.
He's winning.
True.
I will say that.
But clearly not the guy that he was at the same time last year.
Yeah, he's at Juryo 5, so 6-9 will probably keep him in the division. Hopefully he can get over his issues and get back up to where he belongs in the upper Makuuchi division.
And regain the power of the bottom.
Yes. Yeah, that was kind of sad. There were some pictures in the last couple of months of him, just comparing him to what he used to look like, and he has lost a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
And there was a very poor translation that's where that power of the bottom joke comes from. But yeah, his butt muscles have significantly lessened.
Yeah, I know he's struggling with like hurt knee and some diabetes, so hopefully
that probably keeps him from doing his proper
Definitely.
number of squats.
And then making his triumphant return, Takanoiwa was 8-7, so he'll stay in Juryo. I think he was down around like 11-12, so he's going to get a minor promotion. Definitely going to stay down in Juryo for the next Basho.
Yeah, he stuck around, which is after not doing sumo for like a handful of months. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He at least maintained, so he can begin to get back up to where he belongs. But yeah, maintaining was really all he could do this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as I believe we predicted, Enho got demolished in his first run at Juryo.
It's a learning experience. He's learning.
He's a guy that's smaller than Ishiura, so we should not be surprised at all with a 4-11
Yeah,
record.
he'll learn how to do some henkas and he'll be good to go.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got a lot of talent, a ton of technique. If he was going against guys like his own size, I doubt he'd ever lose. But even against these bigger guys, he's got the he's shifty, he's flexible, he certainly has a knack for balance. He can tell how to unbalance guys really a lot bigger than him. I would advise going out and seeing if you can find some videos of him and Juryo here. Some of the matches that he won, he did really look good.
Yeah. And I'm going to turn it over to Fleric so he can lament the injury of one of his favorite Juryo people.
Yeah, so there's a rikishi named Mito Ryu, I think he was big in the college scene, and he's been just been kicking butt ever since he entered professional sumo. And unfortunately, he was in the Yusho race until I believe it was like day 10 or so. Somewhere kind of after he got his kachikoshi, he unfortunately had got an old version fracture on his bone contusion, like somewhere on his right heel bone, and so he had to pull out Kyujo, and he sounds like he's going to be out for 4 weeks.
That sucks. Yeah, I just brought up his record. He lost on day 11, and then he pulled out after that. So he had 8 wins and 3 losses, but then then he couldn't continue.
Yeah, he was definitely in the Yusho race until that injury.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also, what would a Basho be without a little bit of Takanohana drama? Not really Takanohana related, but one of his guys, Takayoshi Toshi.
It's his Ichiban. He's definitely related.
Yeah, but it's not directly Takanohana causing the drama.
Yeah. So
Can we just start calling him Takano Drama?
I I second
no
that.
drama.
All right, motion carries. Talking
Yeah.
no drama. Go ahead, Flerick.
All right, talking no drama. Let's talk about. So last week, I'll get back to talking no drama, but talking no drama. Last we left off was he was essentially not showing up for work. He would show up for like 30 seconds or so, say hi, and then he would just kind of get the heck out. Kind of reminded me a lot of, I think there was in sports that one guy who went to like a interview and he said like, I'm only here so I don't get fined the whole entire time.
Marshawn Lynch, back when he was doing the Super Bowl press, he does not like talking to the press. And so, yeah, he just showed up, and every time somebody asked him a question, he just said, I'm only here so I will not get fined.
And it sounds like Takanohana was taking that kind of a route.
Essentially, yeah. Like, see, I'm technically doing what I'm supposed to.
I would like to point out that Flerick had to say sports because he had absolutely no idea who this guy was and just knows the meme.
That's very accurate. I'm glad you guys are here. But I digress. So that's where we kind of left him off. But then, unfortunately, I believe on one of the days, there were actually one of the storylines coming into this basho where there were actually twins that entered Juryo at the same exact time. Takayoshi Toshi.
Takayoshi Toshi.
Okay, I did get it right. And Taka Genji, I believe, was his brother. But this one's about the mouthful, Takayoshi Toshi, of course.
A little more practice and we'll be right there.
Exactly. So apparently what happened, he was kind of late getting to his match. You're supposed to be there, get to the dohyo from the backstage 2 bouts before your own, so you can kind of be able to give them water in case your side loses.
Those are the guys that are sitting down cross-legged on either side of the dohyo?
Yes, I believe that's the case.
They're the guys who have their matches coming up next?
Mm-hmm. And so he was supposed to get there 2 matches before, but he was about a minute late, and that's mostly because his kind of manservant, Tsuke Bitos, you laugh, but that's literally what they are.
I know, but manservant just...
Another interesting choice of words.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of one of the perks, actually, once you get into the Juryo division. They, like I said, they kind of describe it as from...
All right, Ryan.
Wait, Ryan's broke.
We've lost Ryan.
Ryan broke.
We've lost Ryan. But yeah, so once you're a
Welcome to Juryo. Here's your manservants.
Essentially. If you get higher ranks, you get a couple.
Makuuchi and Juryo are the ranks where you get a regular salary, and with that come other perks like a lower division wrestler in your stable who is like a manservant.
Essentially, yes.
Or a better word, maybe a butler. I'm thinking of a sumatori
Attendant.
walking around with a top hat.
Let's go with attendant.
Attendant.
But yeah, a guy who helps you get to where you need to be, brings you your stuff. These are the guys that like toss robes on the sekitori when they walk off the stage and go backstage to their locker rooms.
And you can kind of tell to do whatever the heck you want as well. But yeah, they're kind of like, it's almost kind of an apprenticeship thing where, like, you know, a lower ranker will be partnered with a higher ranker, so you can kind of watch him and kind of learn the ropes a little bit. So bringing it back, Takayoshi Toshi.
Boom.
Well done.
He was late getting to the dohyo, and that was because his what was it? Butler?
Attendant.
There you go. His attendant was he was just kind of late getting him, unfortunately. So he got to the basho, he got to the dohyo, and he was kind of chewed out by the head judge on the side. He ended up losing the match, and then he went back to the backstage and proceeded to just kind of beat up his
attendant.
Apparently, he punched him a couple of times. It was enough to kind of get his face swollen and like be able to, and also get a cut in his mouth, so he spit some blood.
Oh crap!
This was also like in front of like a lot of people, so like everyone saw it.
Yikes!
Yeah, and then the next day, I believe Takayoshi Toshi was Kyujo, and Takanohana had a few comments saying that that's unacceptable behavior and stuff like that.
Yeah, essentially, Takanohana, to bring it back, he was the one who had his rickshaw attacked earlier, and he proceeded to actually open up a police report rather than kind of going through the sumo association. So he was kind of saying, like, this is so serious, you know, I should go through proper channels. I don't want this to be covered up at all.
Yeah.
And so, and after this, he kind of just said, oh, my guy apologized. And, like, he definitely has a hard stance saying this is not acceptable. But I guess...
So you're thinking that maybe he made his guy pull out of the tournament?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think there's no denying that at all.
Yeah, we didn't hear any injury news or anything like that from this guy. He pulled out because of this incident. We are pretty confident.
Mm-hmm.
And then just one more quick note before we go to break. We had why doesn't somebody who understands this a little bit more talk about it?
Yeah, in the very bottom division, the Jonokuchi division, we had a 7-0 record from our winner, Naya. Naya, we've talked about him a couple times in the past. He's the grandson of the great 1960s Yokozuna Taiho. He entered Pro Sumo last tournament. He went undefeated. He went 3-0 in the amateur sumo, Meizumo, they call it, to get into the ranks. And this time around, he went 7-0. It was pretty impressive, and he's probably off to a great start for his career. He looks very promising. The other guy in that division that we have some connection to is Hoshoryu. He is the nephew of former Yokozuna Asashoryu, who is the dominant Rikishi in the early 2000s. Hoshoryu went 6-1, and his only loss was to Naya.
Good rivalry forming there.
Yeah,
I think so.
They're currently 0-2 in 2-0 in favor of Naya.
Yep, Hoshoryu has not beaten him yet. He was the only one. Naya was the only one to defeat Hoshoryu last tournament when Hoshoryu went 3-1 in Meizumo.
All right, and with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to just go over a quick prediction of what we think the Bansuke is going to look like. And don't turn your dials. This is correct. We have a punishment, and it is not Mac being punished.
Have you been henkaed by the law? Do you have a structured settlement and you need money envelopes now? Call Chio, and Chio Law Firm.
Recently, I was allegedly involved in a car accident, so I called Chio, and Chio, and they gave me the ironclad defense that my wife did it. I was a good guy protecting her. Thanks to Chio, and Chio, I never need to wrestle again.
My name is Aoi
No names!
Dan, and during my last basho, I was robbed of a definitive victory due to poor performance by the Gyoji and the Shimpan. They're my money envelopes, and I need them now. Chio, and Chio were able to get me the settlement I earned.
Call Chio, and Chio at 1-800-936-759. That's 1-800-YENPLZ. We'll be your Gyoji between the bashos.
All right, welcome back. We're going to do a quick run-through of what we think the Bansuke will look like for the Natsu Basho, and when I say we, I mean me. All right, Yokozuna, we believe, is going to be Kakuryu, Hakuho,
who else is at Yokozuna?
and Kisano Sato.
But for this episode,
we're talking about Natsu.
There's also
Yokozuna Jake.
Yes.
He will not be participating in Natsu, I hear.
Correct.
GSB exclusive. Ozeki, obviously, Takayasu Goedo going to maintain the rank. Sekewake, we are going to have Mitake Yumi. I believe he'll drop from Sekiwake. He could move over just one spot, but I think he'll drop down. So we'll have Tochinoshin be the Sekiwake East, and I believe Ichinojo will take that spot at Sekiwake West. I believe Endo is going to jump up from Maegashira 1 to Komosubi East. And I think that's where Mitake Yumi is going to end up. I think 7-8 record should be good enough to keep him in Komosubi. He's beaten Yokozuna. He's beaten Ozeki. I think that's good enough to keep him there. He stayed at Sekewake for a long time. He deserves the benefit of the doubt.
If he doesn't, though, if he drops all the way to Megashira 1, that leaves the spot open, and Tamawashi would be the only logical choice, right?
Tamawashi or Kaisei. At Maegashira 1, I do have Tamawashi ahead of Kaisei because Tamawashi... 9-6. It's not. You need to. I think you need to be promoted if you're 9-6. 8-7, maybe iffy if there's somebody you think could jump ahead of him. But 9-6, I think you should be promoted. So I think he moves over one spot. Maegashira 1 East, and then I do think Kaisei jumps up and fills in that Maegashira 1 West spot. And then we're gonna have Arawashi, Takano Fuji, Kodo Shogiku, Takakeisho all fall back. None of them were 7-8, so they're all gonna fall back significantly. Sho Hozan's gonna jump up to Maegashira 2, and here's the big one. Abi is also going to jump up to Maegashira 2.
Yikes.
Because, so we have Shohozan. After him, Shodai, losing record, has to be demoted. Chiyomaru, losing record, has to be demoted. Onosho, wasn't here, has to be demoted. Kaisei, jumping ahead of Shohozan. Hokuto Fuji, losing record, has to be demoted. Abi, from Maegashira 7 with a 10-5 record, he's going to jump up to Maegashira 2. And then at Maegashira 3, kind of the same story, because Yoshikaze, losing record, has to be demoted. Kageyaki, losing record, has to be demoted. There's nobody between Shohozan, Abi, that can take the spot of Maegashira 3. So I think Daisho, 9-6, is going to jump up there. And then the next person that could be promoted up there would be Ryuden. But I think Chiyoshima just one rank below Ryuden with a 9-6 record, better than Ryuden's 8-7. I think Chiyoshima takes that last spot at Maegashira 3.
That's some big jumps.
That's
No
some
kidding.
big
Really
jumps,
good
but
jumps.
I think that's the only way it can happen, just
No.
based on people have to be demoted so nobody else can fill those spots.
I don't know about that. That's too big of a jump. I think some of those 7-8s are just going to go like down one or.
Right, but
They do have to go
the
down.
first 7-8 is Shodai at Maegashira 4. Like you have Arawashi 2-13, Takara Fuji 5-10, Kodo Shogiku 6-9, Takakeisho 3-8-4. There's no 7 and 8s that can only drop down one spot.
I can see Kodo Shogoku
Yeah.
staying M3 or something like that.
I
Kota
would say
Shogoku-
maybe M4.
He won't drop far, but he's gonna have to drop. So
I think Kodo
it's gonna be a
Shogoku is going to
big
be the
shuffle.
first Maegashira 4, but I think we're going to have quite a...
I can see some smaller drops than those huge jumps you're kind of talking about because that's like from Megashira 10 up to like 3,
Right,
4?
but like Yoshikaze 7 and 8, he'll only drop, but you got to think of who are the people coming from behind that are going to take those spots since everybody else has to drop.
There's going to be some big leapfrogs. I don't know.
it'll be
It seems
interesting.
like Abi, especially going from 7 to 2, is a huge jump. I don't know how we get around it though.
I can see the Abi jump because the 10-5 is an impressive record.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But once we get to like 9, 6, and 8 7s, that's when I don't think
I
it deserves
know,
that big of a
but
jump.
I can't see any other way it going, but obviously I haven't been doing this too long, so I'd be very interested to see how it jumps.
I
I'm
will
curious
say
too.
Ikkyoi, though. I think we're overlooking Ikkyoi at 11 and 4. Granted, he's M14.
He's too far down, I think.
True, but if Abi, Daisho, and Ryuden can attest, like we've seen some major jumps. So whether or not he's going to go all the way to the top 5, that remains to be seen. But I can definitely see him as an upper middle rank from
Oh, sure. I could
my
see him
guess
at, like,
is
6 or 7.
Yeah.
My guess is 7 or 8.
Yeah,
but
somewhere in
that'll
there.
also shake things up a little bit.
Yeah. But, I mean, in those spots to fill out, then we're going to see guys like Shodai can only drop one spot. He'll be at, like, Maegashira 5. Then we'll see those spots with the people dropping, filling in those without other people jumping ahead. But then we'll just kind of cover real quick who we think is going to drop down to Juryo. Obviously, Hide Naomi, 3 and 12. So Kokurai, 5 and 10. Miyogiru, 6 and 9. Nishikigi, 5 and 10. And then Kodayuki probably at 1 and 14. We're going to see those
sure,
5 guys, I think, is who we think is going to drop. And then I think Fleric has a note on somebody he thinks is going to jump up.
I think Omnishiki is primed to come back up.
You think so, huh?
He's at J2, Juryo 2, East, and it sounds like there's going to be a couple people dropping down.
Yeah, it looks like in Juryo you have Kyoku Taisei with an 8 and 7 at Juryo 1. Takakaze, a longtime Makuuchi mainstay, also at Juryo 1 with a 9 and 6. And then there you go, Amanishiki right behind those two with an 8 and 7. I think those 3 for sure are coming up. And then, probably Sadano Umi, 11 and 4. He's the guy that won the U show from Juryo 4. He's probably coming back up. And if we had to take a 5th, that's all the way down to Gagamaru at Juryo 5 with an 8 and 7 record.
It'd be cool to see Gagamaru back up.
Yeah, haven't seen his bulk in a while.
I could see Miyogiru at 6 and 9 dropping maybe down to that last spot, so possibly only 4 people
Possible,
coming up.
yeah, for sure.
Because I do think that's quite a big jump for Gagamaru at only 8 and 7. But once again, we already covered some pretty big jumps up at the
Yeah.
Makuuchi division.
There's going to be some undeserved promotion for sure. No matter how it shakes out, there's going to be some guys who are going to get moved up into the joy with a record that doesn't necessarily deserve it.
Yep. All right, let's just get this whole prediction series thing over with. I believe
We can take our time.
somebody it needs to like brag or whatever.
That would be me. I am am I the first multi-time winner now?
You are indeed, sir.
I mean, I tied with Fleric that one time and only lost on a tiebreaker. I think that counts.
No,
So
I
you're
don't
saying
think
you
so.
lost
You
that
still
one?
lose.
So you have 2. I have 1.5.
Well, anyways.
Wait, Ryan, who won again?
Oh, in that tiebreaker, who won that one?
No, not. Oh, yeah.
No.
Go ahead
Well,
and talk about that. I just want to know.
Fleric won the tiebreaker.
I just want to know who won this prediction series. A little bit late, but I kind of want to know. The people want to know.
Yokozuna.
Like I know.
Oh,
I'm
I'm sorry,
sorry?
that was a little quiet.
Yokozuna Jake.
Yokozuna Jake makes his reappearance here. I was able to get some points because I picked Takayasu to get a Junyu show. I picked Aoyama to get Kachikoshi, and I picked Kodo Shogoku to get Makikoshi. That's 3 points out of a possible 6, and somehow that's still the win.
I think
Yeah.
We've proven.
I think 2 points won the last one. So
We've
That's true.
we've
That's
proven
true.
in this series that it's a low bar, and Ryan still didn't clear it. He didn't get any points except for Chiyotairyu he picked to get Makikoshi.
And damn it, did I nail that one.
He nailed that one.
Yeah, you
But,
got that one all right.
Yeah, Mac and Fleric picked up at least one other point here so that they saved themselves. But Ryan has to call me Yokozuna Jake for the whole episode. And what else did you have to do here, buddy?
I had to write a Dr. Seuss story, a style story, documenting my poor decisions that led me to this place.
All right, well, why don't we hear it right now?
So, without further ado, Oh, That Feeling You Feel Is Woe, by me, Ryan. Oh, that feeling you feel is woe, such a sad display you will show. When your picks make your poor heart ache, Yokozuna is what you will call Jake. So let me take you down this dark and lonely road, tell you why a Dr. Seuss story by me was owed. Skills in prognostication I must truly lack, because there is nothing more embarrassing than losing to Mac. Oh, that feeling you feel is woe. Hokuto Fuji could not find his flow. The last Basho, he did not do very great, but he was M6, so you took the bait. I like him so much, you thought with a grin. I'll take him twice and be guaranteed to win. As the Basho went on and he kept falling down, you thought to yourself, what is wrong with this clown? Oh, that feeling you feel is woe. Mitake Yumi's Ozeki run is a no-go. He started so well last time, you thought with much hope, but he was Makekoshi, and you feel like a dope. A Kinboshi for Giku is all but guaranteed, but Kakuryu beat him to widen his lead. Tochiozan should win at least 8 times, but his Makekoshi led to your demise. Oh, that feeling you feel is woe. Your soul points will not make your heart grow. So as you wonder how you got to this place, think this to yourself and put on a happy face. You are Ryan, the first GSB prediction champion, and even though you are wiping your eyes with a Kleenex, you will prepare better and learn from your mistakes, for when Natsu comes around, you will rise like the phoenix.
All right, that was better than I was expecting.
Well done.
My wife helped me.
Well, whoa.
No, hold on. I wrote all of that. She just kind of helped me with the how to read it in the style of Dr. Seuss. No,
I think
that was all
we'll,
Ryan.
As Yokozuna for this episode, I'll allow it.
All right, let's move on. It's time for
We could take our time. Wait, whose fun facts is it now, Ryan?
Yokozuna Jake's fun facts.
Yeah. Okay, so
It feels so weird. I didn't have to do a punishment this time.
yeah, Mac just kind of feels bored. What do you do?
I don't know.
It's empty.
I'll get back to you.
It's okay. I believe in you, Mac.
So
Next time.
Thank you, Flair.
Next time.
Thank you so much.
we dug deep in the vault for a couple good fun facts here. We've seen a couple Zensho Yusho in the last year or two here. A Zensho Yusho is a tournament win with 0 losses. And you might think that that's, not super uncommon. You might think that happens all the time. With Hakuho around, sure, it certainly does. Goedo got one year and a half ago, give or take. But from 1996 to 2004, didn't happen even once.
Oh, wow.
man.
There were
Holy
8
smokes.
years in between Takanohana getting one and Asashoryu getting one. And every single wrestler in every single tournament lost at least once from 1996 to 2004. Thought that was kind of a cool one.
Yeah.
Dang.
Also, Yusho by Megashira. We had one in January. Tochinoshin won the tournament as a Megashira. There actually has been a time in the past where that's happened in consecutive tournaments. In 1991, Koto Fuji and Koto Nishiki both won a tournament. I looked into these guys a little bit, and Koto Nishiki seems like he was kind of a super Goedo. He has a ton of special prizes, 15 of them. He's got 8 Kinboshis.
Wow.
But he was so inconsistent. Just you don't get a ton of Kinboshi unless you're a Megashira all the time, right?
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my last fun fact I got for you today, I came across a very interesting Yokozuna with a strange story to him. This is the Yokozuna Terokuni. Terokuni was he was active in the 40s, actually 30s until the 50s, 35 to 53, sorry. So yeah, he made his debut in 1935. He absolutely rocketed up the rankings. He literally did not have a losing record. He had one losing record in Juryo, and that's it until he was a Yokozuna.
Wow.
Yeah, so he blasted through the early ranks. He had that one setback in Juryo, and then he put together double digits. This is an incredible run I'm going to read off to you guys here. In 1939, starting at the beginning in 1939, 11-2 Yusho in Juryo. Then he makes his debut in Makuuchi, 11-4. 12-3 Jun Yusho, 11-4, 12-3, 13-2, 12-3, 13-2, 14-1. Just absolutely incredible run here. He gets 4 Jun Yushos out of 7 tournaments here. Wow. Just an amazing, amazing run. They promote him to Yokozuna without even having won a tournament. And then he gets injured. And then he stays injured. 1944 to 1949, doesn't finish any tournaments.
And this is back in the 40s when there's only like 2 or 3 bashos a year.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of inconsistent. It was kind of, seat of your pants. They did tournaments when they could. Obviously, World War II screwed up a lot of plans. But it was this weird career where he was just injured over and over again. He he finally came back in 1949 and put up a 12-3, but not even good enough for a Jun Yusho. Injured for 2 more tournaments. And then finally, 8 years after becoming a Yokozuna, he wins 2 Yusho in a row.
Oh, that's good enough for a Yokozuna promotion.
That's good enough for a Yokozuna promotion, right? So this absolutely tiny detail that we mentioned in a previous episode. There was another Yokozuna who never won a single Yusho, Futa Haguro. Sorry, man, that one's a mouthful. And this guy here, Terukuni, the one that we're talking about right now, almost fell into that same thing. It
looked like he retired just a couple of basho after he won those 2.
Yeah, he won those 2. He had 3 more tournaments where he did well, and then he was injured until his retirement in 1953. But yeah, that's I thought that was pretty sweet. He got a promotion with no tournament wins. And then he finally got them 8 years later to finally cement a legacy and make sure that he didn't retire, sullying the name of Yokozuna in a sense. But yeah, Fleric, I hear you have a fun fact for us today too.
Yeah. So I was watching Sumo Live, and I saw this picture come up of just this Gyoji, like an old style video, and like he just had this beard, and it just fascinated me. I tweeted out like a screenshot of the picture I saw, but I looked more into it. Apparently, he was the 19th incarnation of Shikimori Inosuke. For Gyoji, they're kind of like with the elders in the Sumo Association, where they actually inherit names. These are like a very respectful Gyoji back in the day. He was called Shikimori Inosuke. He's actually the 2nd highest rank he can be, and he was of that rank. He was born Takahashi Kintaro in 1886, and he was promoted up to his namesake of Shikimori Inosuke in September of 1951. He was allowed to grow a beard because of his skin condition, which caused him to kind of break out into fever whenever he shaved his beard, apparently. And so, yeah, it's like apparently there's some medical condition that just kind of said like it just was really inconvenient for him to shave, and so he got the okay to keep it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. You'd think there would be a middle step between you don't have to shave and you can have this giant long beard.
I have a feeling he knew what he was doing.
He brought style to that doyo.
Absolutely.
I'll tweet out a picture after this, but he looks so cool. Like,
yeah, he does.
He is like the coolest Gyoji I know. So there was a memorable event with him. Apparently, in the first day of the tournament in 1958, he refereed a bout between the Yokozuna Tochi Nishiki. Yeah, Tochi
Nishiki.
Thank you. And against Megashira 7, Kita no Nada.
Good enough.
Great. So there was a bout, ended up with a Mono-E, where they actually, the Shippan judges on the side end up overturning Shikimori's his decision. Gyojis are required to yield the final decision of the judges, but he was so adamant, he heatedly upheld this call for a full 10 minutes until he eventually relented.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Holy smokes.
Was he right?
Yeah. So I'll get to that. He never relented, but he accepted defeat, and he was then suspended for the rest of the tournament.
Ouch.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. But he said that he never
Shimpan.
Yeah, he never doubted his original decision. But luckily, this was kind of when pictures were in newspaper of sumos. Well, I think it's been going for a while, but they were able to get pictures taken by a newspaper that showed that he was actually right all along. And due to public outcry, he was actually reinstated before the basho was ended.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, Gyoji take their job super seriously, especially the very high ranks. Their actual rank is determined by the number of wrong calls they get. I think it's kind of in, I believe it's in Juryo or maybe below Juryo. They're expected to get no more than 6 wrong calls in a year, or they'll actually get demoted from their rank.
Oh, holy smokes.
Yeah.
So those mono-E's that we had this time were
very stressful.
Yeah.
Exactly. Especially in higher up in the Makuuchi division, it's actually only no more than 3. And I think at the rank, I remember reading somewhere that someone a high rank of the high rank that he was at, he's saying if I ever make a wrong call or just more than one wrong call, I'm going to retire.
Wow.
So they really take this very seriously.
But that's awesome that they have that much pride in their position and that much love for what they're doing. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely have passion for it. And as you can tell, he spent 10 minutes heatedly debating the outcome. He's like, no, I saw this. This is what happened. And they tried to overturn it. And it's funny because in the end, this is someone who's spending his time professionally judging stuff, and he takes it very seriously. So, and it's kind of, yeah, so.
We needed him for Oyama's match.
That would,
yeah,
he probably would have done pretty dang good. So, wrapping up, he worked till age 73, which was kind of before the mandatory retirement age of 65 was implemented. So he's going to be his age of longest working Gyoji is never going to be broken.
Oh, very cool.
Cool.
Unless there's some toddler savant Gyoji out there.
He still has to retire at 65.
Yeah, that's fair.
So a maximum of a 65-year career.
Exactly.
if you are a savant.
From diapers all the way to old age.
All right, let's move on to Jake's ELO or ELO and fantasy updates.
Yep. So with our sumo power rankings, we keep track of every single match, who wins, who loses, how likely it was for that person to win or lose, and that determines the score that person gets for that match. That score goes into a total, and by the end of the tournament, we have a new rating for everybody. So by our system right now, the 2 biggest winners this tournament were Kakuryu and Kaisei. Kakuryu gained 77 points and Kaisei 76, and that's essentially moving them up in our ranking. In our rankings by a number of slots. The average Rikishi would be about a ranking of 1,000. So these guys are up in the upper thousands right now. Kakuryu is at 1127, but he is not the top ranked guy. Takayasu actually came into this basho with a higher rating than Kakuryu, and even though Takayasu didn't do quite as well, he only gained 55 points. He ended it with a higher rating overall than Kakuryu. Takayasu has 1140, and that is the top rating for anybody right now. On the other end of the spectrum, we had a couple guys take significant dives. Arawashi lost 86 points. He's down to 920, which signifies a huge drop, which is going to be reflected in the next Bonds K when he is much lower than Megashira 2. We also had Kota Yuki, who only managed 1 win. He lost 99 points. He's down to 826, which is about the equivalent of a Juryo wrestler. And in the absolute lowest, we have Hidenoumi, who came in from Juryo. And when somebody enters our league, when someone enters our spreadsheet from Juryo, we assign them an 825. And because he did so poorly this tournament, he went down to 777, which is equivalent to a mid-Juryo wrestler. And that is rough.
That seems about what I saw.
Yeah. That seems about what we saw. Yes. How many wins did he manage this tournament?
2 or 3?
3?
3 of them. Yeah. So yeah, rough month for him. He is going to have to take another try in Juryo, and then maybe we'll see him again. But yeah, as always, you can find the updated power rankings on our blog. We have a link to that. And we also have our Fantasy Sumo League up there. Our Fantasy Sumo League this month, we had our guest Molly. She gave us a excellent Valentine's Day pun. Here we go. The pun that she gave us. Who does the Sumotori go to for love advice? Cherub Maru.
I was about to say that. I remembered.
Yeah, of course, you almost had it. But no, that on the strength of that pun, she was able to join us as our guest for this Basho's Fantasy League, and she kicked our asses.
Royally kicked our asses.
And she has henceforth been kicked out of our fantasy league?
Yes. Exactly. Yep. As is tradition, the guest shows up, kicks our butts, and leaves. Except for Eric Gare. That poor guy. Yeah.
So it seems to be every other time. So next time we're just going to dominate.
Next time we are going to dominate.
I like
these
odds.
But no, Molly had her team was the Hair Bears because she managed to pick up Takayasu, Kaisei, Shohozan. She did excellently. But she also left us a voicemail on our hotline, 805-613-SUMO. Let's play that right now.
Dear Grand Sumo Breakdown, I am thankful for the opportunity to practice my brand of fantasy sumo. I am so excited. I tried very hard and am so happy. As a final comment to everyone out there, you like that? You like that?
No, Molly, I did not like that.
Indeed. After Molly, we had Fleric, whose team was carried by Kakuryu. Then I was in third place. I had Endo and Ikioi. They did okay. Mac had a very balanced team, but not a lot of standing out. And then Ryan had nothing but Tochinoshin.
Dumpster fire.
Absolute dumpster fire. It was
just
great.
An overall terrible Basho for me, prediction-wise.
So let's go back to Ryan. How can we get a guest for next time?
Next time, we are going to request on Twitter that people send us their guilty pleasure rickshi. So the rickshi that you like, but you know you shouldn't like for whatever reason or another. We'll send out our picks for our guilty pleasure rickshi on Twitter over the next couple of months, and we'll choose our favorite one to be our guest sumo fantasy person.
Yep, and we'll get in touch with you and schedule a draft. Next up, we have Mac. We are looking at the GSB awards for this tournament.
Yep, got quite a few to hand out for this one. We're going to start things off with one of our favorites, the Fat Man Flying. After a little debate on this one, we are giving it to Chiyomaru. On day 13...
Chiyoshoma.
Oh, my goodness, it is Chiyoshoma. I cannot read my handwriting. I am sorry.
It's okay. I understand.
Day 13, Chiyoshoma versus Daishomaru. Chiyoshoma displays an amazing hammer throw in which he hurls Daishomaru around and just whips him out with a great throw, and then Daishomaru is just incredulously smiling as soon as he hits the clay. Like, what the heck just happened? Next, we have the Benny Hill Award. We were actually split on this one. So it goes to, on day 9, we had Kakuryu versus Shodai, where both of them were shuffling and moving like crazy, and then Shodai got too much steam and ended up falling out of the ring, and Kakuryu was able to keep his balance, but was smiling and laughing the whole time he was walking back across the clay.
That was really funny. That was way more... You never see that much happiness on a guy's face, but he was just shocked, and he loved it.
And then we also had day 4, Takakeisho versus Tochinoshin. Both of them were chasing each other around the ring, trying to throw each other out, and then they eventually get to the side where Takakeisho loses his balance, and Tochinoshin does this weird Superman push jump and just ends up flat on the side of the ring.
Yeah.
And Takakeisho couldn't keep his balance and falls straight out. Next, we have the I Don't Get It or Why award. This one goes to Oyama. On day 5, his match against Myogiru, he was robbed. Even with a Mono-E, still got robbed.
Highway robbery.
There wasn't a Mono-E on that one, right? Or
no, there was a Mono-E.
Oh, okay.
And they still ruled in favor
Either
of
way,
Myogiru.
it was obvious.
Yeah.
It was obvious on the replays that it was wrong.
And we have the Not Today award goes to Ikioi on day 10 against Yutakayama. That hair pull, they took his win away.
Yeah. And intentional or not, I think it was the right call.
We have the Cool Technique award, which is going to day 11, Daiamami versus Kyoku Taisei. Kyoku Taisei is a Juryo Rikishi, and he used a Susoa Hari trip when Daiamami was trying to force him down. He just wrapped his leg around him and tripped him up. It was excellent thinking, and it worked out for him.
Very flashy technique.
Next, we have the Ouch Award, which on day 11 goes to Sokokurai against Okinomi when he falls out of the ring and fractures his foot and leg. That had to hurt.
He had to lean on a guy to even stand back up.
He couldn't even get back in the ring
I
to
did not see
end
the giant
it.
wheelchair come out for him, though.
That is true, but
I'm sure it was coming.
the number of fractures, though.
He did not do much walking after that.
We have the most disappointing / worst match of the Basho. I think we all agreed on this one. Day 10, Tochinoshin versus Goeido.
Yep.
And,
Come on, Guido.
Yeah. And I would like to throw a shout out to Kakuryu versus Kaisei, where if Kaisei won, I believe he could have taken the lead or at least tied for the lead. And just over in a second, I literally laughed out loud when I saw that because I was so excited for that match, and then just nothing.
And Kakuryu just like, no.
Yeah.
Nope, done.
You realize, like, I'm a Yokozuna. You're still mid-Banzuke.
Yeah.
Go down.
And then we have best match of the Basho. We have quite a few entries on this, but we all kind of came together, talked about it a little bit. Day 14, Takayasu versus Mitaki Yumi. That was one heck of a match.
Yeah.
Back and forth pretty much from the get-go.
Mitake Yumi was fighting for his Sekewake life.
And he lost it.
And
And he lost
Yeah.
it, unfortunately.
But it was definitely a close call. It's like that was a hard-fought match and a hard-won match by Takayasu.
Definitely.
Well, especially since right from the Tachi, Mitaki Yumi basically had his palm up under Takayasu's chin. Takayasu could not get inside to save his life.
That was actually so cool. That
was
like,
awesome.
super effective for a while until he broke out of it.
Yes. So that's why that one got the win.
All right, we're going to move on and check out what everybody's favorite moment of the Basho. And who better to start off with than Yokozuna Jake?
That's me. I'm going to get at least one more out of you here. No, I wrote down one thing, but my mind has changed since. I think my favorite moment of the whole Basho was on the very first day. We actually stayed up wicked late. We watched all the matches live together. You know, at least one person dozing at any given time. But that was a great time, and I hope it's something that we do again in the future. Maybe we'll make a thing out of it. But that was a ton of fun. Spending 2 hours in the middle of the night watching a crazy sport from the other side of the world. It was just a lovely time.
And screaming and yelling after each match.
Yeah. Having way more fun than we probably should.
Yeah, and listening to commentary in English too.
Yeah,
Yes.
that
That
was
was
really
also
nice.
really cool.
Hopefully that keeps up. That was fun.
Yes.
My favorite moment was Tochinoshin getting revenge on Kakuryu for his lone loss in the Hatsu Basho. But more than that, just Tochinoshin's solid follow-up to his Yusho win, joining the Sekewake ranks, getting 10 wins up there, continuing his Ozeki run, and hopefully being able to seal the deal at Natsu. What about you, Mac?
For me, I know I have one thing written down here, but I am also going to be changing my mind. It would be watching Chiyoshoma's performance. I did not have any high hopes going into this for him, but I was pleasantly surprised, and I found myself really just being glued to the screen whenever he took to the clay. I was like, this is going to be fun.
He has some
So
exciting matches.
I was pleasantly surprised, and that definitely made the Basho for me.
All right. My favorite match of the Basho was going all CSI and scouring the net for the Kakuryu versus Takakeisho match. That's one whether or not his toe went out. I don't know how many times I watched this like GIF of his toe going down and coming back up.
I'm sorry, do you mean Jif?
No, he does not.
No.
You get the hell out.
That
right.
got the reaction I wanted. No, Jif is horrible. It's always GIF.
There we go. I'm glad we agree on that. But coming back, yeah. So just watching that toe come up and down multiple times, trying to figure out where that dust comes from. It was an enjoyable time. I liked it.
They probably had another moment similar to that for Tochinoshin's heel a couple days after.
I wasn't nearly as
That
was
one wasn't
honestly
as-
out.
You didn't
he
care
wasn't
about
aboard
one?
that hype train, so we didn't care as much.
Yeah, I didn't.
That one also wasn't as ambiguous. It was
Exactly,
a
yeah.
little bit easier on close inspection to figure that one out.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, and that's basically going to wrap up this review episode for the 2018 Haru Basho. Once again, Kakuryu, your winner. The next Basho will begin May 13th, so we'll have our preview episode out just a few days ahead of time, and it will all be irrelevant day after we post it because the news always trickles out right after we post it.
Yeah, let's see who's going to retire and or break their arm off or something in the one day between our frickin' bonus episodes and
That
whatnot.
kind of shattered all of it.
Yeah.
Always happens.
Yep. We are planning a few bonus episodes. We have a special one that we're going to be posting this weekend. We're very excited about this one. We're also planning to do a sake and beer episode in April. That one will be one you definitely want to tune in for. And then we're also planning first in a series of debate episodes that we want to get up before the next Basho starts. But until then, if you like this podcast, want to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast listening service, we would very much appreciate it.
You can find us on Twitter at GSumo Breakdown and Facebook at Grand Sumo Breakdown.
You can check out our blog where you can find our fantasy league and our power ratings. That is grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com or give us a call at 805-613-7866. That's 805-613-SUMO.
All right, and until next time, I'll get one more Yokozuna Jake in.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown.
Until next time.
Throw your salt high.
And keep moving forward.